In this video, I'm going to rank every single non-launcher explosive weapon in Fortnite history, and let me explain what I mean by that. As the title of this video says, no launchers, so that means no rocket launchers, no grenade launchers, guided missile, Cybertron cannon, all of that will not be on this list. Those are all technically under the umbrella of launchers, so this list will more consider weapons that are regular but that have an explosive effect towards them, so think like the Boombo or the explosive repeater rifle. Those are just some quick examples. Obviously, this list is weapons and not grenades. If I was going to include every single type of grenade, we would be here forever, and every grenade could honestly just be its own video. And before we get started, I do want to give a quick honorable mention to the superpowers. So stuff like the Unibeam, Mystical Bomb, Arcane Gauntlets, etc. They definitely could be classified as explosive weapons, but just didn't fit the mold of this list. And the same goes for items like the Rocket Ram and the Railgun. I could see the argument for those being explosive weapons, but they're just so different than the other weapons on this list, I didn't want to include them. With all that being said, be sure to like this video, subscribe if you go on to enjoy it, and use code TYFRYZ in the Fortnite item shop. But finally, I'm done with this long intro. Let's get into the ranking. At my number 13 spot, in dead last place, I'm going to go with the Boom Heavy Sniper, the exotic version of the Heavy Sniper. To this day, I still don't understand why people try and argue to me that this is a good weapon. I mean, under, what are you looking at, 90 damage a shot for a sniper, and that is with the explosion. This is costing you hundreds, if not 1,000 gold in Chapter 2, Season 5, and if you headshot them, it doesn't make any much of a difference. I think it gives you plus 15 damage. The explosive doesn't give you extra headshot damage. I just don't ever see why you would take this over any other sniper, except for, I guess the fact that you could just spam somebody with clangers. That's decent, I guess. At my number 12 spot is going to be the Thunder Spears from Chapter 4, Season 2. This is an item that I guess I could see an argument why it shouldn't be on this list, but it doesn't really fall into any category, right? It doesn't fall into a launcher. It's definitely not a rocket launcher. It's definitely not a grenade launcher. You just shoot these explosive spears, and so for me, I decided I'm gonna put it on this list. The Thunder Spears for me are a weird one because they don't really feel great unless you have the ODM gear, because once you have ODM gear or something like, I don't know, like the Kinetic Blade even, once you can get height on somebody, that is when the Thunder Spears really shine. But straight up on this same terrain, the Thunder Spears don't really feel that great. You do get big time damage out of these. If I remember correctly, I believe it was 100 damage. But once you guys see some of the other weapons on this list, you'll realize why the Thunder Spears were really low in my ranking today. At number 11, I've got War Machine's Arsenal from Chapter 5, Season 4. And this is a really interesting one to talk about, because if I was talking about the pre-nerf War Machine's Arsenal, the one that launched with the season, it would probably be the number 1 spot. This thing was absolutely unbelievable before it got nerfed. This thing was literally a walking mech, and of course I am talking about mainly the explosive side here. That's going to be the rockets that you could shoot out of it. And yeah, way too strong, and they nerfed it into the ground. They reduced the environmental damage of the rockets. They doubled the regen time of the rockets. They reduced the spawn chance of this thing. I mean, they really just beat this thing into the ground. And after these nerfs, it was just an okay item. I wouldn't go out there and say it's great, and I don't think it's bad either. It's just somewhere in the middle. And my number 10 spot is going to be probably a hot take from Chapter 4. That is the Excalibur rifle. Of course, this will include the Ageless Champions Excalibur rifle, that being the mythic version. And I don't really understand why it seems like so many people love the Excalibur rifle. Obviously, you shoot that sword and then it explodes. Obviously, this item acts as a projectile, but the fact that it's a projectile is a problem, right? Because that sword seems to take forever to get to your target, and that's not even incorporating stuff like, bullet drop, right? The sword drops a ton over range. The redeeming factor is it uses shotgun shells, so you really don't have to ever worry about ammo, but I feel like the damage is just too weak for actually how difficult it is to just hit a shot with this thing. Moving on to number 9, that's going to be the Flare Gun. This is another item that I could see a debate on whether it should be on this list or not, but as you guys know, you shoot the Flare Gun. Either one, you shoot it in the air and explodes and it gives you the recon, or you shoot it at somebody, it explodes and then spreads fire everywhere. So to me, that was good enough to make it here. I don't really have any complaints with the Flare Gun per se. It's just not the better half of the items on this list. You're never going to really use it for its explosive abilities, right? Like, you're never going to really shoot it at somebody. You almost always are going to shoot it in the air and use it for the recon. If you do that, you are going to be successful with the recon abilities. It's incredible for that. But other than that, yeah, not much use here. And number 8 is the Mechanical Explosive Bow. This obviously will include Raz's explosive bow from Chapter 2, Season 6. And I actually just made a video talking about this weapon and really the entirety of Chapter 2, Season 6, aka the worst season of all time. So if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. Since that video came out so recently, I'll keep this brief. I originally wasn't the biggest fan of the Mechanical Explosive Bow. I still don't think it's the best mechanical bow. That title goes to the Shockwave bow, but it's certainly not bad at all. And after watching a bunch more gameplay, I saw a lot more utility with this weapon, and it's actually better than I originally thought it was, but again, not good enough to push past the 50% of weapons on this list. And my number 7 spot is going to be the WII Bowcaster. This is another item from Chapter 5, I believe, that I don't really talk about ever. It's a really weird weapon because you either just shoot it like a normal crossbow would, or you can hold the trigger like you would, I don't know, like a charge charge shotgun, and you can charge it up, and then once you release that trigger, then it will shoot an explosive bolt. And so that's really kind of, you know, what I'm honing in here for the purposes of this video. And it's actually a pretty good item. Now, yes, it is very difficult to hit a shot, but at full charge, if you land a direct impact shot, you are doing 132 damage with, let me remind you, infinite ammo. Again, this is another one of those items that is actually pretty difficult to use, but if you learn how to use it, right, you learn how to kind of lead your shot with that projectile. Obviously, you can do splash damage with it being explosive. I think you're going to find a lot of success using this, and I actually would go as far as to say the WII Bowcaster might be underrated. Let me know what your thoughts are on that in the comment section down below. And a weapon that functions almost identically to the WII Bowcaster at the number 6 spot is going to be the Boombo. And honestly, the Boombo is just a cooler version of the WII Bowcaster. And not only is it cooler, it is just genuinely better. But there are a couple things to take into consideration here with the Boombo. For one, it uses rockets. You don't have unlimited ammo, and rockets were not easy at all to find in Chapter 5, Season 3. Now, of course, that can be counteracted by Ringmaster Scar, who, if I remember correctly, dropped the infinite ammo medallion and the mythic Boombo. That is an unbelievable combination, especially in a season like Chapter 5, Season 3, where cars were just running the entire game. This Boombo was essentially one of, if not the only hard counters to those cars, and that made this thing really, really valuable. But without that infinite ammo medallion, you're going to have a tough time finding ammo to use it. Again, this is another weapon that just feels difficult to use, right? But if you are good at it, I mean, you're getting over 100 damage per shot. Of course, it's moddable, so you can put some attachments on this thing however you like. But if you've ever faced a player who is good with the Boombo, it is absolutely destructive 100% and deserves to be this high up. Next, at number 5, I'm going to go with the Heisted Explosive Assault Rifle. This is the exotic version of the Red Eye, and it's pretty good. Besides Fortnite Reload, it hasn't been in the game in what feels like forever. I believe it was Chapter 4, Season 3 it was vaulted, so you're looking at easily over a year ago. It's a really unique and actually really good assault rifle. You get 60 damage a shot. That's, of course, at a trade-off of a very slow fire rate, and that bullet just takes forever to get to them. But the rounds also deal splash damage, so you don't necessarily have to treat it like a super accurate assault rifle like the Red Eye was meant to be. You know, if someone's up in your box, you can just hip fire them and do splash damage. Obviously, this is, you know, more of a gimmicky weapon, as a lot of the weapons on this list are. But, you know, if you hit 2 shots, even maybe 3 shots, you're basically going to almost take out somebody with full shield. There's not a lot of weapons that you can say that take only 2 or 3 shots and you can basically just delete somebody. Moving on to number 4, I've got the plasma cannon. Again, just another item that I wasn't really sure I should put on this list. I mean, think about it. It's not really a launcher, but is it an explosive item? It just fits into such a weird category. Obviously, there is no one place on the internet where I can just look up every non-launcher explosive weapon in Fortnite and it just appear there. So if I did miss any, let me know in the comment section down below. But yeah, the plasma cannon is absolutely destructive. You get 5 shots, right? That's it. So you only get 5 shots and then you just gotta chuck the weapon away. But you can do so much damage and so much destruction. If somebody's in that box, just shoot the plasma cannon, they're insta dead, right? There literally is no escaping this thing. Even if they see it coming, it's one of the craziest weapons we've ever seen in this game, but it's just so good. Again, the only thing that holds it back is those 5 shots. That is just not enough. My number 3 spot is another kind of forgotten about weapon from Chapter 4, Season 3. That's the explosive repeater rifle. Again, another weapon we have not seen in quite a bit. It was only in the game for 1 season. It's a really, really weird weapon. There truly is not a weapon like this. It uses heavy bullets and has a headshot multiplier of 2.5 times, but the projectile shot explodes on impact. So you're basically using the regular lever action rifle, but then just add like an explosive tipped round in there. And that area of effect splash damage range is pretty forgiving. I mean, that shot doesn't have to be that close to them to deal splash damage. And this thing is really good. I mean, I remember back in the day, people were like double pumping with this thing or holding 2 and just swapping back and forth. The gameplay will definitely show it. The explosive repeater rifle is one of the more underrated weapons that we've seen in recent times. And I would 100% be down for this weapon to come back. We are now inside the top 2. And this was honestly such a toss up. You could put either weapon at the number 1 spot, but at the number 2 spot is going to be the explosive Goo Gun. I mean, I feel like I've talked about this weapon a bunch recently. Just like, what do I even say about it? It just shoots explosive goo out of it that just explodes all over the place. And like I said with the explosive repeater rifle, there's no weapon like that. Well, there's definitely no weapon in Fortnite history ever like this. We'll never see a weapon like this again. And you know, normally with the weird kind of gimmicky weapons, they're not great. Well, that's not the case with the explosive Goo Gun. This thing was absolutely terrorizing Chapter 3, Season 4, was it? Season 3? I kind of forget now. It's just the fact that you could stick it to anything. I mean, there's a car driving by, just shoot it on it, and it'll all stick to the car and then explode it all at one time. If you had 2 of these, or I mean, God forbid you're in trios or squads and you have 3 or 4 of these things. It is just, you can't stop it. It is one of the most ridiculous weapons we've ever seen in this game, but coincidentally also maybe one of the best. At my number 1 spot though, for me, it's going to be the Boombo, and that's for a couple of reasons, right? One, you get unbelievable damage. You're looking at over 100 damage a shot, and of course, it's an explosive shell, so you don't have to direct impact to get that big time damage. 2, like I just said, it shoots shotgun shells, not arrows. Arrows did not exist in Season 8 when this thing was introduced, and so you're going to have so much damage. I mean, there were people that were taking this over sniper rifles 100%. It was just that good. The Boombo just felt like you could use it in any situation, long range, mid range, even close range. Because you got the explosive damage, it felt super, super viable. It was better than any bow we got in Chapter 2, Season 6, and I would probably say this is the best bow of all time, and it is certainly 100% the best non-launcher explosive weapon we've ever seen. All right, guys, well, I really hope you did enjoy that video. Of course, like I said earlier in this video, there is no one place to find every weapon that could potentially fit the, build to be on this list. So let me know in the comment section down below if there were any weapons that you felt like should have been on this list that missed the cut. And if I agree with you, I'll definitely like your comment and let everybody else know. But if you did enjoy this video, be sure to like and subscribe. We are almost at 100,000 subscribers. And with all that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.